Hi there, my name is Kate Brimmerman, and this is my Module 4 for EDL 951 about cultivating relationships with a school board and how to form positive relationships with the school board. And before I jump into my presentation that I would theoretically give a school board, I do want to say that I can't, with 100% honesty, say that I would pursue a superintendent relationship or position given the information that I know. I'm assuming in a principal position that I have a very strong working relationship with my principal, and if he tells me about his woes with the board, I would assume that I maybe would want to consider my other options before I jumped into it. Boards can be difficult, and having the correct board can make all the difference. I know in our district right now we're really going through some tough times, and I would partially blame our Board of Education for that and some of the things that they are doing. I, in no way, shape, or form, would want to have any type of district administration job in my current district with the current board. And I just think that's an important note to start with. But assuming that I do want a superintendent's role and that I am going to cultivate positive relationships, we can jump right in. So first and foremost, in cultivating positive relationships, the purpose of our slideshow is to improve school board superintendent relationships and show how I am going to do that if I am selected for this position, how we will build trust within the community, and then clear communication with the community. So I want to focus on the fact that a lot of this slideshow is going to talk about communication and how we can use communication to help show our vision and mission within the district and what we're going to do through the communication and through the feedback loops to help make those strong connections. So first of all, cultivating a respectful and responsive relationship with the district's Board of Education. As a superintendent, I think it's important to learn the who and what, getting to know those school board members on a personal level. Who are their kids? What buildings are they in? Are they in buildings? Have they been in the community for a long time? Are they new to the community? What is their reason for being on the school board? Is it because they have a personal agenda, or is it because they truly want to do what's best for our district and for our students? I think it's important to get to know them on a personal level first. Collaborate to support students and staff. Getting involved is going to be a key part of my role as a superintendent in this district. I want to know who my staff are and what buildings they're in. If I'm in a large district, it will be difficult to know exactly who does what in every building. But if I at least have a general idea of who is who past my administrative team, I think that will be extremely important. And then advocate. It will be my job as a superintendent to advocate for the needs of our district, for the needs of each individual building, and for the needs of all of our students. So I'm hoping that I can make sure that we have a clear vision and mission in place to advocate. And then lastly, connect. As we work to be a board and a superintendent that has a functioning relationship, I want to make sure that we can make meaningful connections with each other to know where we're at, not only on a professional level, but also somewhat on a personal level. As far as cultivating and evaluating effective and collaborative systems for district governance, I think it's important that we're going to pull in multiple and diverse stakeholder groups, school and district personnel, families, community, and stakeholders, and also, of course, you as board members. So we will jump into how I would like to target each of those different groups. The first being multiple and diverse stakeholder groups. So I think that it'll be critical that we include community input, and that includes administrators, teachers, students, parents, businesses, government agencies, and residents. I want to include them on the ground floor, which is the development of the district's vision. I think that we probably need to take a look at what our vision is and make sure that we're still headed in the appropriate direction that we want to be. And in order to do that, I want to pull in all of my stakeholders, not just my teachers, not just my principals, but also my students, my parents, those businesses that surround us, and government agencies. I think doing that will play a key role in the success of not only our school, but also our community as a whole. Next, we have our school and district personnel. It's going to be critical that we have clearly defined roles and that we know our lane, and that if we step out of our lane, we're able to do it in a respectful manner, and we're able to engage in conversations that will best support and help our district to grow as a whole. I think that sometimes we struggle as a district, is knowing what our role is and how to stay within our role and how to provide constructive criticism to each other within our roles to help grow as a district. And that comes from relationship building. I would make it a key component to make sure that we have strong relationships, not only at the district level, but also at the building level, and then from the building to the district level. I think it's important to get some feedback loops in place so that our school personnel at the building level feel comfortable coming to the district personnel if there are issues. And then again, having our mission and vision that is defined and having all decisions that are tied back to it. And within that, having decisions that are tied back to being student first decisions. When it comes to families and community stakeholders, I think that it's going to be critical that I am publicly visible, which means out in schools, attending site council meetings, and then having a district leadership team that is connected back to those stakeholders that I talked to about earlier, meaning not only my building admin, but also those community members and students and parents of our students. I think the biggest one on this, though, is making sure the public visibility, that my staff knows who I am. I don't want to be a superintendent that just sits in my office and does paperwork all day, every day. I think that having the ability for my teachers and my students and my principals to be able to put a name to my face is going to be very helpful. And it will also give me a better bridge on what our buildings need. And then lastly, you guys, my board members. I think it's going to be critical that we have mutual respect for each other. I will obviously respect you, and I would appreciate that same respect for me. And then this is a key quote that I have always enjoyed is authority relationships function beautifully until the environment changes. So I would ask that we have flexibility and collaboration rather than authoritativeness. I think that it is important to have strong opinions that are loosely held. So knowing what you stand for and standing strong in those opinions, but being willing to be flexible with other ideas that might be brought to the table. And then, of course, the priority of student achievement. We need to be an accountability-driven district. We need to make sure that we know where we are at and how we are going to improve from where we're at. And then team building. What can we do as a group, superintendent and board members, or even our district office team and our board members, in order to build ourselves as a team to make sure that we are functioning on a high level? So next, I told you that I would talk a lot about communication. I strongly believe that communication is going to be key in building a positive board relationship. So I want to make sure that we have consistent communication about district, state, and national policy, laws, rules, and regulations. It'll be my job to update you guys on what those look like, and then your job to make sure that you look at those and that we are on the same page with everything. And then along with that, evaluating and representing district needs and priorities within larger policy conversations. So what do each of our individual buildings need, and how do those fall into the larger conversation about policy? And then lastly, making sure that we have communication about our district needs and priorities at the local, state, and national level, so that I have the ability to go advocate for those where necessary at those local, state, and national levels. So that goes back to communication, how we're going to have those feedback loops in place, and what we will do in order to build positive relationships. I look forward to a decision on the hiring process, and these are references that were included in the slideshow. Thank you.